What up guys, my name's Connor and today I'm going to give you 10 of the most hilarious songs in EDM. Electronic dance music is easily one of the best umbrella styles of music for not taking itself too seriously. Whether meme inspired, crude or just musically hilarious, there are many EDM tracks out there that genuinely make you laugh. And I'm not talking about using the odd sample or quirky sound here and there, I'm talking the vast majority of these songs I'm fully laughing out loud. And I've made this list so that it's funnier as it goes on, gonna explain why I think they're funny, and then play what I feel to be the funniest part of each song. Just before I get started here, gonna thank EDM Movement for having me on. I also run a channel called Nawtystep, where I cover all things bass music from dubstep to trap, drum and bass house, complextro, glitch hop, etc. I do album and EP reviews, top 5s, top 10s, rave footage, opinion pieces, and so much more. So if that's something that interests you, then be sure to head over to the channel and subscribe. I'm sure it'll be linked somewhere in the description of this video. But yeah, on with the list, and first up, we have a track that for me perfectly highlights the carefree capabilities of EDM, and that's Kill the Noise and Dylan Francis with Turkey on Wheels. Firstly, we had Dolphin on Wheels, which was clever and well done, but not necessarily funny, and this VIP just takes it to another level in my opinion, with all of these little touches, almost all of which is sample based. The sound of a turkey, I feel, is also just funnier, quite freaky and surreal in a way, not an animal noise that most people are too familiar with, whereas a dolphin, I feel like most people know what a dolphin sounds like, making the original more ordinary than what we get here. The track overall is just wilder, and the kid says different stuff in it as well, making it even funnier than the original. But yeah, overall, Turkey on Wheels, just a clever development and a funny song overall. And the funniest part of this song for me is the introduction, when we discover what we're getting into, and the first drop that follows that, and especially as a change up and development from that original song, I think it really works and makes it even funnier. But yeah, pretty much everything you'd wish for from this track, you get it.
Bring in the turkey!
Oh, it's so well done. Low-key a bit of a banger as well, you know. Next up, we have another duo who have made some fantastic music over the years, but have also been known not to take themselves too seriously, and that's Knife Party with Micro Penis. This one again is low-key a bit of a banger, especially when you take the drops into consideration, but the tension and sense of unease established early on makes it funny because of the subject matter. The introduction is this man realizing the horror of his situation after getting up and looking in the mirror, and the way it's dramatized makes it so funny, kind of like a thriller. The midsection is also brilliant in the context of the track, with that video game vocal sample and what's said there. Another clever way of appreciating the joke, basically. More abstract, but still very funny. And the funniest moment again would have to be the introduction, the moment that sets the track up, the midsection running it a close second. Every time. Then we have the most outlandish and perhaps most relatable track on this list. It's Mike Savello and the Galaxy with Confessions. This whole song is framed around a woman's rejection and ridiculing of someone advancing on her at a club because she's adamant that she's sleeping with the DJ and seemingly very proud to be doing so. And it's hilarious because of how well it's put together, the instrumental complements the vocal really well, and just how set in reality it is. You just know there are people out there like this that are around, that exist. The music itself is also very off the wall and gives the track this very manic feel, putting you in the mind of this absolute dominatrix psycho. Unnerving, but also downright hilarious. And the funniest bit for me would have to be that first build, where the main vocal sample is used for the first time, and all is revealed. Oh, it's just such a tune. Next up, we have a duo who actually have a fair few funny songs to their name, but this one definitely sticks out to me. It's Twerk with Badinga. Some songs just sound funny because of one very simple idea and the way it's executed, and this song for me is the absolute epitome of that. It's a pretty straightforward trap song, but the drops are just the cheekiest sort of funny. The jumpiness of it tickles me every time I set my ears on it. And I've talked about execution already, and it's the placement of every note and sound here that makes it work so well. So innocent on the surface, but then so funny at its core. And the funniest bit here for me would have to be that first drop, and when you connect what's being said there in the vocal sample with the actual title and how you spell it, it just makes it even funnier. The timing of everything is spot on. Then we have a track that isn't so much a song as a marvelous mesh of memery, and that's the OK remix of Closer by the Chainsmokers. This is not a song, it's not even a remix, it's more a collage of first-class trolling. 1 minute long and basically just fits in loads of other tracks where it can to match the lyrics from the original exactly. Basically, it rips the original to shreds. It's absolutely savage. It's also full of distortion, which just ramps up the meme aspect of it even more. Completely unlistenable, but undeniably very funny. The cleverness of it as well, though. Every other song used works and fits so perfectly within its own space, and it's just done really well, even though it is so jarring. And my favourite moment here would have to be the integration of Jitaro by Fizo. Had me in absolute stitches the first time I heard it, and still does to this day, to be fair. Yeah, just so good. Here we go. Oh my god! If you know both of those songs, just putting them together is just so unexpected. It's just done so well. Then we have one of the most iconic songs in modern dubstep music, a real throwback for those who've been listening to the genre for a long time, and that's Dodgin' Fusky and the Highbury Whores with Pawnstep. I've talked about some of these tracks working well because of how well they're put together, and I think this one typifies that more than any other here. It's essentially a load of moans, groans, and words of seduction from a porn star, spliced over a really groovy, rhythmical dubstep beat. Yeah, and I mean, that pretty much sums it up to a T. Very saucy, but everything works together really well. All the parts seem to fit with one another, if you know what I mean. And the funniest bit here for me, well, the moans and groans do drone on a bit, so the extra samples are what keep it going. Ridiculous and stupid, but funny as hell.
This is Pawnstep, motherfuckers.
Next up, it's probably the most varied track we get here in terms of the different types of humour it provides. A real range going on here, and that's Savant with Sledgehammer. Bottom line is, this is one of the most hellish dubstep tracks I've ever heard, but there's so much undeniable quirkiness and funniness to it as well. Excuse me. The sprightly organ-like introduction, the banjo-like midsection, all the cute samples dropped in throughout. It's like experiencing a nightmare through a kind of satirical lens, if you will, and the wildness of the dubstep probably makes it funnier because of how manic and insane it really is. Really is such a crazy, dizzying auditory experience, so much so that it really makes me laugh. And the funniest bit for me would have to be that banjo-led midsection. Just when you think it's going to keep cranking up with the dubstep, that section flips the track on its head yet again. Cheekiness of the highest order. Following that, we have arguably the most crude and outrageous track on this list. Really saying something after that Dodgin' Fusky tune. It's Bear Grylls with Going Down Under. The premise here being that two Australian girls want to get away on holiday, and what follows is, well, let me just say there's a lot you can read into the title of this song. The dubstep again is wild, but that doesn't distract you from the unapologetic, risque lyrical material. It's ludicrous, but I cannot deny, also very funny. Definitely enough, as I said, to distract you from what is quite a good bro step track. Got a really strange, awkward outro as well. One of those where you just have to hear it to know exactly what I mean. Outrageous, but well worth a listen. And the funniest moment of this song for me is one that I don't even think I could play in this video for fear of it being demonetized. But it's undoubtedly the most heinous and shocking thing that I've ever heard in any electronic music song ever. And if you want to find it, it's at 1 minute and 9 seconds in. And ultimately, we have another pretty ridiculous song, but more on a sonic level than a lyrical one. Another mad mesh of sounds. That's Tisoki and Olivers with the SpongeBob VIP. You know that scene from SpongeBob, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Yeah, This song, VIP, remix, whatever, is based around that. Another where the VIP just takes the original to another level, and in terms of the amount it changes, the developments made, it's one of the best I've ever heard, I can't deny. It just uses all the right parts of that sample in the right ways. It's strange, peculiar, bizarre, unsettling, but fundamentally impeccably assembled, and that's why it's so funny. Like the auditory version of being at a circus, I think that's the best way I could describe it. It's ingenious stuff and just hits in all the right spots in terms of comic value. The kind of song, I think, where you just have to pinch yourself while listening to it to remind yourself that it's real. And the funniest bit here for me would have to be that whole first drop sequence, so outlandish and eccentric, and I've given many adjectives already, but honestly I could go on and on for how brilliantly creative and fun it is.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Oh, it's just so jokes. And finally, we have what is for me undoubtedly the most outright hilarious EDM track I've ever heard in my almost 10 years of listening to it, and it will take some beating going forward as well, and that's the Organ Donors with Ket is for Horses. There are many EDM songs out there that address drugs, but they're quite serious and dark, and the comical slant of this one is very refreshing and done in a really funny way. You have a deep voice explaining what ketamine is and how it harms animals and humans, basically showing you every way in which it is bad before they revel in it basically. The music video shows the duo clad in lab coats and horse masks doing loads of ketamine and just having a big old rave in different parts of the UK. And it's that contrast between the seriousness of the subject matter and the way they ironically bat that away that makes it such a funny, well done concept and song. And I think the best way to question something is in a satirical way, and this song has a clear message, but because it's delivered like it is, it probably makes you think about it more, and the way the lyrics progress over its course really help that as well. So even beyond the humour, it does the job in a lot of ways, but more than anything, I love it for its comedic slant. And the funniest thing about it, well, I would have to say all of it. Everything about it. It's the vocal samples, but also the adrenaline-fueled electro-instrumental just fits with it so perfectly. It's just the most complete here in terms of its humour, very rounded and funny EDM track.
Ketamine, a hydrochloride tranquilizer used in veterinary practice for the sedation of animals and reptiles.
Of course.
Injected intravenously to induce physiopathic paralysis. Effects in humans in powdered form. Extreme state of euphoria. Hallucinations. Out-of-body experiences. Dangers. Seizures. Psychosis. Permanent loss of senses. Brain damage. Conclusion! Ket is for horses, you dumb motherfuckers!
Oh, what a way to round things off, eh? And so there we have it, guys. 10 hilarious electronic music tracks. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. But what are some other EDM tracks that you guys think are hilarious? I mean, I'm fully aware there are loads more out there that I don't know of, so feel free to leave them in the comments below. Can never have too much funny EDM. Again, if dark, heavy electronic music is your thing, then be sure to check out my channel nawtystep. I upload 3 videos a week. Would be great to have some of you along. Big thanks once again to EDM Movement for having me on, and I shall see you all soon. Peace out.